Guys, welcome back to another video. I literally just filmed the parts video for the VF52 Legacy GT Turbo Swap, and we'll see how you guys react to it. I really don't know. I feel like it's gonna be like a love-hate thing, which is good. It's all good. What I really want to do is I want to start tearing down my Legacy GT. Just start kind of like draining the fluids, tearing it down, getting it ready for us to do all the stuff we have to do, because there's a fair bit of stuff that has to happen. But before, and I should have done this a while ago, before I go ahead and start doing that, I just wanted to try flushing the VF52. Now, I'm sure there's a more professional, proper way of doing it, but this is the way I could think of, and basically I just use compressed air and oil, and I'm just seeing if there's any flakes of metal that is lingering inside. So I'm praying there's not. I've heard you shouldn't have an issue reusing a turbo from an engine that had main bearing failure. From my understanding, the oil filter should have caught it, and it should catch it before it goes back in and causes further damage to other components. I know stuff like your ABCS you would have to replace, but from my understanding, a turbo should be okay, but I just want to be safe and not sorry. So I have had oil kind of draining through this now. I just want to take a magnet and just see if indeed we are safe or if we are not safe. So I'm really hoping we're safe. I don't want to have to buy a new turbo or try to fix this, but we'll do what we have to do if that's the case. So let's just move the turbo out of the way a little bit. I don't know if that's metal or if that's just dirt. I'll use the magnet on it. See, it's hard to tell because this was dirty to begin with. So I've done this a few times. You can see little tiny, very tiny like black particles on there. To be fair, the turbo has been sitting in my garage now for quite a while, and I have done a lot of grinding of like steel, and I feel like this is just little particles of steel that are just kind of floating around. Like it's coming from the side of it, and there's not even oil coming out of there. Like there's a little bit of that stuff on the side. There's literally like that's not where the oil drain was. So I don't know. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna run it. Hopefully if there is anything, the oil filter picks it up, which I think will be okay personally. And I'm definitely gonna give this turbo a little bit of a cleaning before I throw it in, but I think we'll be okay. So let's get it. There we go. Come on. Come on out. Nice and easy. Oh, that's pretty easy. There we go. Oh, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. The VF40 is out. Oh, the shaft play is perfect. I ran out of time. I was trying to get the intake manifold off. It's pretty much off, I think. Beside, I think this hose right here, I think it's pretty well ready to come off. Because if I give it a shake, yeah, so I'm pulling everything off. The TGVs are going to come with it, the intake manifold, the turbo inlet, the fuel lines, all that's going to come with it. I figured because we're replacing the fuel lines and the TGVs, it's just easy to take the whole thing out. Also, it'll just make it easier to put the VF52 in. And let me just compare the two for you guys. Like, you can actually see a size difference, which I was surprised. So on the left is the VF52, the right is the VF40. This turbo, I'm assuming is original. I have no idea, but if it's original, it is still pretty good. There's like no shaft play whatsoever. The VF52, I am excited to put this in. The only other thing you're gonna notice the difference is the top here, and that is because of the Grimsby Tomo intercooler. If it wasn't for that, it would look the same. You wouldn't have to worry about that. I'm gonna call it a night. I'll probably be back tomorrow and hopefully get the intake manifold off, and then we could put the VF52 in. So you guys can see that. I'm super excited. Also, removing the hardline here, I soaked this in WD-40, and even then, I'm surprised I got this off. This is the fitting that turns, the one below doesn't. So just keep that in mind when you're removing it. The top one rotates, the bottom does not. In my honest opinion, if you're removing a turbo from an old Subaru, just get a braided oil line. It's not worth trying to save these and put them on. They're so flimsy, they're so fragile, especially if they start rusting up, they're gonna break. And even then, this one, yes, it came off, but it gave me a hard time. So I will see you guys tomorrow. I'm hungry, I'm tired. Is she gonna come out now? There we go. Ooh. I spent some time and thought about it. I think I'm gonna leave these coolant lines, these crossover lines for now. I know they're crusty, but I do plan on removing this engine eventually and putting basically a built engine in it. Not fully built like the STI, but likely just do the pistons and keep everything else stock. So that's something I'm planning to do with this block. When I get to it, I'm not sure, but something I'm gonna do quickly right now is this engine on this car, there is known to be two banjo bolts that like to clog up in the filter and cause a lot of issues. If gunk gets caught in it, you no longer get oil pressure and stuff gets destroyed. So I'll show you where they are. It's obviously a lot easier to access since I have the intake manifold off, so might as well do it. So the first one is on the driver's side of the engine. It's right here, right there, but that one you can't get to unless you take the timing cover off. So if I do keep this engine for a while, I am gonna do a new timing belt and all that, but right now I'm not gonna worry about that. The other one that's gonna be a lot easier to access is basically where the turbo is located. And it is right here. So I gotta pull this bracket off. So I'm gonna definitely check that one when I change out the oil feed line. Once that's done, we can go ahead and throw this VF52 in. I'm excited for that. So I'll be right back once this oil feed line is on, because that's gonna be a separate video. And just like that, we have oil feed lines, guys. So this will go to the turbo. So our VF52 will get a nice fresh braided line. We also got some freshly powder coated brackets to support the uplight. What we do have to do quickly though is I have the old studs holding it in, and these are pretty jank, especially that one. So let me show you what I got. Just from Amazon, I got these made in China, nothing special. I can't see why they wouldn't work. And then we can go ahead and throw the VF52 in. I'm excited about this. I'm not gonna lie, I did do a little teaser for myself. I got pretty hyped up about it. I'm hoping everything goes on fairly smoothly. Can't see why I wouldn't. So let's go ahead, get these studs on, so then we can throw on our VF52 and crank her down and have another thing knocked out. I'm hyped about this. Let's get her done. Time to put this bad boy in the GT. Next to my head, it looks pretty big, but honestly, it's not that big for a turbo. It is a factory turbo, but definitely is heavy. Whoa. Jeez, don't break it now. Another thing is we got to try out our AliExpress gaskets. Honestly, I'm low-key excited. We're gonna need this, we're gonna need this, but this will do the trick. Side by side, I'll tell you right now, the edge right there, where it's kind of held all together, is a lot thicker on this gasket compared to this gasket. I don't know, we'll see. It may just leak and I have to replace these. Now that I look at it, I'm a little worried about this one. We will see. How easy is she gonna be? Actually, it might not be too bad. Hose just slipped right in, I think. And that's it. I think she's in. I think she's in, ladies and gentlemen. With the hoses there, it doesn't look like much, but the VF2 is officially in. I am hyped. The stainless steel lines are all bolted down. They're not as pretty as I hoped, just because the length is so crazy, but they'll do for now until we decide to do some DIY ones. If you guys are interested in that, maybe in the future we'll do some DIY ones. I ended up putting this coolant hose here just to kind of protect this power steering line. It might be fine, but I'd rather not risk it. They can heat up, so, you know, why risk it? Obviously, if you're just doing a VF52 at home, at this point, you would go ahead, you would put your downpipe on, your top mount intercooler, and so on. Whatever else you took off, like your turbo inlet and all that jazz. So if you guys are looking forward to the first startup and seeing what this baby can make, I know I am. I'm assuming it's gonna make around 280 wheel, just based off of what online forum said and all that. So if you guys are interested in that, please feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Take it easy, guys.